440, this is 528. And so this is supposedly the perfect love tuner. And it really does. It's nice because I do a lot of meditation and mindfulness practices with science and spirituality, with all the classes I'm teaching. And it just takes a moment to pause. And I found that perfect note on the harp. And so that's like a resonant note. And so what people do is if they can stop during the day, it's called a love tuner. And Deepak Chopra is one of the people interested in the work that we're doing with engineering and science, because I do believe our next religion that brings us unified together is going to be science, because of what we're learning at the atomic level and at the cosmic level. And people are not looking at this as, new age woo-woo stuff, but as a practical, progressive Christians. And I practice all faith traditions. I'm an interfaith chaplain, and 50% of my patients have no faith tradition. Have really no organized faith. And so our goal is to get more and more people excited about getting into that Zen moment that we all know through our music.
Kind of an offshoot of what we were just talking about how the future of religion will be this interwoven science, spirituality, Zen like combination, if you will. Is there a way that we can take what you do, basically using art and music as a form of healing, and spread it to mainstream society?
Well, you've tapped into my passion, because after having gone through a horrific healthcare rehab process and seeing what the progressive doctors at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles were professing me to do, and we can all do this, is that when you get into the different areas of your brain, and I'm very interested in neuroscience, and I'm very interested in how the brain operates from a healing perspective, so we can age into health and we can live life to its fullest. And, as I'm moving into the next third of my life, one of my mentors is Dr. Gladys McGarry, who's 99 years young. And, she has really talked about the practice of empowerment for our own body's healing. And so when she's done several videos for us, and, when she talks about the harp is the perfect resonance to be able to get into a frequency of how to align the body from a scientific standpoint. So after I got into this healthcare system with so many drugs, so many surgeries, so much diagnostics, my accident alone produced a huge nightmare for healthcare insurance and the whole legal thing of being hit by, it was a challenge at best. And many of us go through this. So imagine a way of getting the arts and music specifically, and I'm very interested in the harp, being how to clinically prove the efficacy of what the harp's frequency does in healthcare settings. So it becomes best practice for doctors to script. And these doctors love us. I'm serious. They pull us into worst case scenarios. We're always in the ones that are highest risk, the most anxiety for family, because it not only helps the patient, but it helps the families get in tune with what's going on. And it then helps the body reconstruct itself for a healing process. And I know scientifically, and the article we just wrote was integrating postmodern medicine with spirituality, a new paradigm in healthcare. And it's all on the electromagnetic brain and what it does with the frequencies. And it's a great article. It just got published in the International Journal of Engineering and Science. And I'm interested because I want to get practicum for people like intellectuals to start saying, you know what, we do not need, there's the big thing is this opioid crisis, and we're working with babies yet in one of our hospitals. And that's the main thing the medical director wants us to work with, is how to get these babies out sooner that are, innocent victims of this opioid crisis. And you should see what happens after playing for just a short time. These babies' bodies get so into a frequency that is so healing, and it's just beautiful to watch. It's beautiful. So what our goal is to become best practice in healthcare and using the arts and culture as a way of doing it. And I'm doing now a whole study on the mind and what the right and the left brain and how we can then get a crossover using the cerebral cortex. And I'm going to be teaching a class called Aging into Health, Living Life to its Fullest. And a lot of it's going to be on how to get your own bodies, mind, body, and spirit in balance. So I thank you so much for having me in this interview. I just feel like I'm so in a total frequency with a dear friend. I do know that God is love and a divine moment, and I am an individualized expression as you are, Katherine. And I just believe that when we invoke that law of attraction, of love and kindness and music and that universal spirit, that it opens up the pathway, and we can just say, thank you, thank you, thank you for the blessing, and just release it, let it go, and know that God's in charge. And we can just say, and so it is, and amen. And I just feel so grateful for having this time.